everyone, my name is Kaikoon6 and here's another episode of Playlist Stories. Before I begin, I do want to give some good news or something like that because we've been struggling with this this problem for a very long time. Like who I'm talking about is just me and my husband. We were trying to see what was going to happen with us when the car accident happened back in January, and finally we had to return the rental last week. And so we were kind of dealing with, trying to drive around and stuff like that since we had no vehicle at the time. And then my mother-in-law just suggested, you want to go get this vehicle? And we had to go all the way to Plano to go get it. And we finally got a car. And that was, the good news for it because we have been, looking, for a certain car. But in reality, we were kind of pressured into buying the car, to be honest, because honestly, we didn't want my mother-in-law to drive us everywhere, especially with trying to wait on some compensation or something like that, which we did. We ended up getting compensation from the other insurance people because of the accident. So now everything's been dealt with, and all we have to do now is just, probably get a second vehicle, and I guess that's what we're gonna do. And so far we got one. And I haven't uploaded photos of it yet because I thought, okay, well, once I get home, we're gonna eat dinner, this and this, and then eventually we'll just pose with the car, which we haven't done yet, and we're just why? But what we got is a 2021 Chevrolet Equinox, and it's a silver car, and it's really nice. The only thing that the problem is that he had a problem with this, my husband, but for me, I felt like I drove it around a little bit this past weekend and I really liked it. The one thing that he didn't like about it was the acceleration. It takes forever to accelerate, and I was just like, that's understandable, that can be fixed as soon as we make the payments for this car. And so we did the paperwork and everything at that enterprise in Plano. And I want to give a good shout out to the woman that helped us out. Her name is Alex, and I love her. She is so nice. She was so understanding. She heard us out what happened. My husband showed what happened to the car and explained everything what happened. And then the claim holder was helping us out more than our own insurance. And it's just because this was our first major accident to happen to us, and we had no idea what we were doing. We were basically just go by the ear, and then somebody else was holding our hands throughout the whole time, and so we were kind of we had no idea what to do. So we were following whatever the other insurance was telling us without any help from our own, to be honest, because we felt okay, they're gonna take care of everything if on our end, basically. We will rarely talk to the other insurance. But for some reason, this other insurance, which I'll claim that it's State Farm, they helped us out more than our own insurance. And so I was just I'm not trying to put any hate or anything on them or, whatnot. But our own insurance, which is Fred Loya, they didn't help for shit. They didn't. They were supposed to do everything on their end and talk to them for us. All we had to do was just answer a few questions, this and this. No, we had to do basically everything, the paperwork, all that. And I felt why come our insurance didn't help us with any other things? And so we were having that many complaints. And then hopefully soon we'll be switching over to a different insurance once, I guess, things settle down or something. I don't know. But anyway, I wanted to tell you guys that because that was what I have been dealing with for a week or so now. And plus, of course, as usual, I never clean up the small room. I added in more stuff in here than anything. And I was thinking, okay, maybe I should do some shorts. I honestly felt I was so stressed out from what happened. So all I did was I did some reviews, on my social media accounts to, some DIY stuff that I was doing. And then this is the recent one. I'll show you guys this one, and it's this one, which is the paper mache thing. It's supposed to be an advent calendar type of thing. You can find this at Hobby Lobby. I think I got mine for 40% off, I think. Excuse me, but this was 2 years old. So yeah, and so I have this paper mache box right here in front of me, and it's filled with beads, what I'm gonna start doing with jewelry hopefully soon. because like I did promise my mother-in-law that I was gonna start doing some jewelry stuff, make stuff, and then who knows, maybe to sell or something. But it was just mainly like a hobby I wanted to like do and just try to relax, because this like the past 2 weeks has been stressful for all of us. And then like, so I had to socialize a lot this like for the past 2 weeks technically, and like my social battery was like draining slowly but surely. And when I thought that it was going to be back to 100%, it drained real quickly to like a 15% every single time I hung out with my mother-in-law. And so I decided, you know what, I am going to read and listen to music throughout this whole time. And that's what I did for the past week and a half. And I have been doing that just earlier today before I started recording the video. So yeah, so anyway, that's what I wanted to tell you guys. I am working on a craft for sure. I just don't remember where it's at. But I'll probably make a video of that next week and see what happens. And I don't know. But yeah, so and then maybe I'll do a shopping haul sometime soon, because like I told my husband, like, I know it's after Valentine's Day and I highly doubt any stores will have any Valentine's Day, but I would love to have something for clearance. And I was thinking about going to all the stores that I could think of that might have some clearance on Valentine's Day stuff. I went to like some Dollar Trees this past weekend and I could not see anything, so I was just like, okay, that's fine. I'm just gonna go see like what I can get this weekend, because this Saturday is going to be my birthday and I'm going to be turning 32, and so that's a very surprising number. Even when I was 18 years old, I was still like, I can't believe I made it this far in my life. I didn't realize I was ever going to turn 18, and so now as will be a 32-year-old woman, I'm like, that's crazy. And then also today is my friend Choji's birthday, so I'm going to go wish him happy birthday later on today, because I never forget his birthday. Ever since like he and I became friends in high school, like we were trying to get to know each other as friends, and then we like when we told each other like, when's your birthday, and like I told him, and he's like, oh wow, like my birthday is just like 3 days ahead of you. And I was just like, that's crazy. Like I've never met anybody other than like just classmates that had the same birthday as me, or at least nearby my birthday. And so he was like, yeah, me too, like it's kind of crazy, right? And I just said yeah. So anyway, so like every year I will never forget his birthday for sure. Like I've been wishing him happy birthday every year since I met him. And sadly I don't have any gifts for him. Sorry, Choji, but like we've been really busy, and I hope you understand. It was just like we had a lot to deal with this accident in this car and everything. So hopefully you understand, and hopefully everybody else understands in this video. So anyway, I'm going to move on to, you know, talking about this certain memory. And this is a very strange one, especially with the title of this video, which is I Kissed a Girl by Katy Perry. Okay, as some of y'all know, I am not, you know, I'm not gay, lesbian, whatever you want to label it. I'm actually a very straight woman. I'm a cis female. But yeah, this song, this brought up a lot of memories back in high school, especially with a certain friend of mine that I have known since then, like since high school. A lot of people knew this person like before she like changed identity, and I will give a little background on that one, because I was still trying to think of a nickname for her, and I was like sitting thinking about this before I started recording this video, and while I was rambling on about the car insurance, and then of course the paper mache box here, and you can hear it, it's like full of beads. A lot of people knew this person just like before she did change her identity. Like for the longest time, my friend Jaws, he was telling me that he knew this person that identified himself as a guy throughout this whole time, and then just recently in high school, just like a certain grade, like eventually, like probably the year that I met this person, eventually was just like, I'm gonna identify myself as a female. And I was like, okay, that's fine by me, I don't care, as long as like you're a cool person. I got to know this person very well, and like she calls herself like a hermaphrodite, and so I was like, okay, cool. And since then I have been like you know, like her best friend, like her go-to for everything. Like she had other friends too, of course, but I felt like whenever I showed up every morning to our usual hangout spot in high school, like she was always there, like just ready to talk to me about what happened. It could be just anything about drama, about her friends, basically about anything. We were just like talking nonsense for hours on end, especially throughout the whole day in school. and during lunchtime, and then of course sometimes when we hang out after school and stuff like that. Well, there was this day where I didn't think much of it, to be honest. I felt like we were just hanging out and stuff like that, and like I think we were hanging out at a Carl's Jr. I think at that time. I think she invited me over for like a lunch, and I was like, sure, let's go get some lunch. And this was like straight after high school. Like I think we were like a few months after high school, and I think it was during that break, like from like May to June, because on May 26th was just like the day I graduated, and that was like the last day of school and all that stuff. I didn't got to school, or like I didn't start college till like maybe, I think it was like the 7th. It's between the 7th or the 10th of June. It's been so long ago, you guys. It's just been so long. So around that time, I had like this small tiny break where I just wanted to hang out with friends, and I remember just hanging out with friends every single day. And then there was this one time where I kind of like invited her over to my mom's house at the time where I was living at. And so we were like just hanging out, chilling and stuff like that. And then she didn't really want to go home, but my mom kind of forced her to go home. And so because she had like a really bad relationship with like her mom and her stepdad, and then like I think like her uncle grandpa or something like that. And then things started taking turn for the worse during that week for her, because like I think she was either getting bullied online or something like that. I don't know. It was just like I felt like at the time it was nonsense, because I've seen the hate before, like in person, and like of course people defended her and everything. And for me, I felt like, I'm like, why would you want to hate on this person? This is just so ridiculous. Like she's just like another person, you know? And so I just did my best to be neutral, and she was just like, why weren't you defending me? And I was just like, I was, by staying out of the business, because the more I get involved, the more it's going to get really personal. And she was just like, what are you talking about? And so I told her about like my stand on like, you know, people identifying themselves, this and this. Like I fully support it, but it was going to get really violent, I'm out, you know, because I do not want to get in trouble or this and this. And so she was just like, all right, understandable. And so during that week, between like that May and June week or something like that, she invited me to, like, of course, a lunch date. We were hanging out. We went to Carl's Jr. since that was the only restaurant nearby where she lives at. And it was kind of like a halfway point between, like, my mom's house and then, like, her house, you know? And so I told my mom to drop me off at Carl's Jr. because at the time I didn't drive. I didn't have a license. So she did that, and she's like, let me know if you need anything. And I said, yeah, sure. And, like, I remembered, like, my phone was, like, fully charged that time. And so I wasn't like really playing with my phone that much. Like usually when I hang out with friends or something like that at the time, I will fully pay attention to them. But like, if I could feel like a little bit of like annoyance or something, or like I just feel like my phone vibrating or something, that's when I'll pay attention to it. But then I'll go back to paying attention with friends. And so that day, we ate at Carl's Jr. We were having so much fun. And then next thing you know, we were like, okay, like, what do you want to do? And I was like, I don't know. What do you want to do? And then she just suggested that we should go to her house. And I was like, sure, let's go to her house. So we ended up going to her house. We were walking all the way there. It was kind of like almost like a 1.5 mile walk from that Carl's Jr. But I felt like it must have been a little bit longer, because where her house was located at was like in like 2 major intersections that people use to like pick up kids from school or to go to like a grocery store down there and this and this. Like I wish I could tell you the streets, but I'm like, probably you guys might know where it's at, especially if it's in California. And so I ended up walking through those major intersections with her, talking about some stuff, and then I told her about like some people that I knew like nearby where she lives at. And she's like, really, you want to pay a visit to them? And I'm like, nah, that's fine. I don't even know if they're home yet. She's like, do you have their numbers? And I was like, I don't think so. And at the time, Jewel was actually living at like a different block away from my friend. And so it was just like a very interesting thing. So she and I, we went to like we finally arrived to her house. She was showing me like where her neighborhood was and like who like, you know, who her neighbors are, and I was just like, it's okay, I don't care about them, like I just care about just hanging out with you. And she was like, okay. And then so we went inside her house. I didn't went like into her bedroom because she was like, it's a very messy bedroom, don't even bother, like I'm just gonna go get you something to drink and then we're gonna go play around the computer in her living room, which that's where it was at the time. And so I was like, all right, cool. So I ended up sitting in her living room for a bit, and she was telling me that like her uncle grandpa was like about to come home anytime soon because like he has a certain schedule, this and this, so you probably might meet him. And I was like, sure, that's fine. And then so she ended up giving me a soda, and then like we went on the computer, and I just remember like watching like a bunch of YouTube videos, and it had like music videos on there. And then of course the song for this like the title of this video came up. And then that was when like things got serious. Like I thought, okay, what is this girl doing? You know, like hopefully she had no intentions. And no, she had no intentions. She just wanted to talk. And so we had like this amazing girl talk. Like we were just like, she was trying to relate, I guess, like because she felt like she was so distant because for so many years she identified herself as a male. And then so just like that year, you know, and like, or at least that year when she finally realized that she wanted to be a girl and dressed up like a girl, it's like she was still struggling with it for like at least 3 or 4 years, you know. And so I was just like, you know, I only knew her for like maybe 2 years into it. And so I was just like trying to, I guess, trying to relate to her in a way, but I was still trying to be a little bit, you know, kind of like, I was always been open-minded, to be honest, but it was just like, it was kind of hard for me to understand. So I was like, help me understand, you know, like how do you feel about this and this and this. So I was basically like her psychiatrist, which is so weird. And so she was talking about it, and then we just had like a really nice talk, you know. And then she was like, I just don't like my family, this and this. And I was just like, oh, you know, like we all went through that phase, you know, like we don't like our own parents, we don't like our own family members, this and this. But like I felt like she was mostly strongly towards like her like her stepdad and her uncle grandpa. I felt like, okay, maybe they've been a little bit too judgmental on her and all this and that. And then I got proof of that as soon as her uncle grandpa came through the door, and he immediately saw me. He was just like, who are you? And I was just like, hi, I am this person's you know, well, I need to come up with a nickname for her. And the only thing I could come up with, and it's just so mean, I feel so sorry for it, but I've already given her a nickname before, but then I kept changing it for so long. But I'm just gonna call her It Girl because that was the only thing that just came into my brain. And on top of that, like my friend Choji and I, we were talking about her a while back, and so that was the only thing I could think of. And for some reason, the other name came to my brain, which was Hermie, and I was like, no, I do not want to do that. That's just so mean. So so I ended up just saying It Girl a lot. So I was like, yeah, I am It Girl's his friend from school. Like, my name is Jennifer. And then he was like, I have heard of you. And so we like shook hands. We introduced each other. We were talking. And I think my friend was like in the restroom or something, or she was in her bedroom. And then so she came out, was just like, hey, like you're home. And he was like, yeah. And then he immediately looked towards me and just said, did you know that he was a guy? And I was like, to be honest, no. I said, and I can't even tell. Like at the time I couldn't even tell. And of course, like she was kind of about to break down and cry and was just like, what are you doing? And it's like, you're like, well, yeah, like, did you know that, you know, he was a boy? Like for so many years, she identified herself as a boy, and I kept calling her boy and this and this. And it was kind of mean, to be honest. Like, I still think it's mean as of today, of course. And so she kind of like was starting to cry and kind of like wanted to fight him and stuff like that. And I was just like, okay, this is getting a little bit violent for me. And so I decided to kind of like diffuse the situation, and I was just like, I told him yes. I told him like, no, I did not know that, but I have been told by another friend out, like a mutual friend of ours, that like he's told me this before, and then confirmed it and everything. So I was just like, I didn't really care because like It Girl is such a like a really lovely person, and I just wanted to get to know her as a friend, you know. And then he was just like, they all say that, but they always end up leaving. Like, I have not seen one friend of hers step into this house since then. And I was just wondering why. And I was like, well, I didn't want her to pry or anything. I was like ready to like say something, but then I'm like, at the time I was 19 years old, or 18 years old, I should say, about to be 19 in that following week or whatever. But like, it was mainly like I was already thinking ahead of age at the time. So I was just like, okay, I know I'm 18 years old and I could be 19 soon, but like, could I still kick a 70, 80-year-old's ass, basically, like a man's ass? And so I was like, no, I couldn't do that, and this, because that was my mentality at the time. And so I of course I calmed down since then, but like, I've been biting my tongue a lot since then, of course. So anyway, I was just like, well, what should I really do? Like, what could I really do? And I just told, like, no, it's like, it doesn't matter like what kind of a person she is, I just don't care. Like, I just want to get to know her as a friend, and this and this. And then like, if her other friends refuse to come over just because of a reason, then that's their problem, you know? Like, I don't know how often I'll be coming here, but to be honest, like, I just don't care. And so he was just like, okay, whatever, left. And then she was just like, he's such a jerk, this and this. He's about to go drink and this, because he's a huge alcoholic, so he would drink almost every day. Like, I think she said at the time it was like 1 or 2 like packs of beer or something like that. I was just like, that's still a lot. But anyway, so we heard his drinking, we heard like the cussing and everything. Like, he was in his bedroom when this happened, but then he made his way to the living room so that way he could actually watch TV in front of us and we couldn't hear anything from the computer. So then she called it quits and was just like, okay, I'm gonna go take my friend home and then I'll be back. And then he was like, all right, whatever. And so we ended up walking home, and then she was just like de-stressing the whole time we were walking out. And of course there were strangers around us and they were like, what the fuck is going on here? And so she was telling me a lot about like kind of like what she deals with the daily life in her house. And I was just like, that makes sense. So I was like, yeah, because I felt like something was really off about like, you know, her uncle, grandpa, or whatever. It was just so weird. But anyway, like, as soon as I got home, my mom was just very kind of like pissed off, because she was just like, you should have called me, I could have picked you guys up so that way you guys don't have to walk. And I said, no, Mom, we needed to walk, we needed to talk about this and this and that. And it was a very private conversation, this and that. My mom was just like, okay, like, does she want to talk about it and this and this? And I was like, well, no, because of the language barrier, she's not able to. She's able to talk some Spanish, but not everything. But she's mainly kind of like my husband. Like, she understands a few words, but if you give her like hand signals or some connotation of it, like, she'll be able to understand. And so my mom was just like, well, she's your friend, so if she ever wants somebody to talk to, I'm right here. And I was like, okay. So I had to translate that to her, and then she was just like, thank you, this and this. And then so she ended up staying at my place for a little bit, up until like almost bedtime. And I was like, girl, you need to go home, I have to go. And she's like, I wish I can stay here. And I was like, me too. Like, I've had friends come over, especially like a lot of good friends of mine, like, just stayed over and then they don't want to leave. But I'm just like, y'all got to leave. Like, I have no room here for all of y'all. If I did, I would have like laid out, you know, blankets and pillows and the sleeping bags, this and this, but I really can't. And besides, like, my family is very strict. So anyway, so she ended up going home, and I had told her, text me the whole time to see if like you do make it home safe, because at the time, I think like her mom and stepdad were working like really late hours, and then like the uncle, grandpa really didn't want to pick her up or anything. He felt like she was a waste of gas, which is kind of sad, to be honest. And so she would always walk everywhere she went. And then, of course, as years went by, she and I really grew close. Like, not as of recently, because, like, ever since I told her that I was going to move here to Texas, like, she kind of, like, fell out of conversation with me. And the only time that I'll ever hear from her is, like, either she messages me on Messenger or just tries to call me and all that, because she does have my personal phone number and everything. But, like, I rarely get any phone calls nowadays. Like, I think because ever since, like, we, like, I had to deal with, like, so many scam calls also. I'm like, of course, doesn't everybody? So I had to put this option where, like, it goes straight to voicemail to anybody I don't recognize the number. And so I decided, like, okay, maybe she called me at some point, but I haven't, like I had a voicemail set up and everything, but I don't know. It was just so strange. And then, of course, as years went by, I didn't hear nothing from her for a while, and I felt very worried. And then that was when, like, like, I found out about her situation and this and this. I can go in more details about this in a different video, because it will be a whole different type of conversation and this, because, like, it's just fucked up. It really is. So like, every time I listen to the song, which is I Kissed a Girl by Katy Perry, I always think of her, because I felt like as soon as we were bonding over, like, music on that computer in that living room at the time, it was like she was telling me this is my favorite song of all time. And, like, and I don't think I'll ever change that. But then, of course, she changes it, like, almost every week whenever they were coming out with, like, the billboards, like, a new song comes out, and then now everybody thinks that that's their favorite song. But I remember for years she'll tell me, like, this is her favorite song, and then I felt like I'll always cherish this song no matter what. And it's the only song that I listen to by Katy Perry, to be honest, because, like, I remember for years I did not like her at all. Like, I felt like maybe her voice was a little bit too nasally for me for years. I don't know. I'm giving her a try one more time, because I felt like back in high school I would have loved her more if I was into more of popish type of things. But I felt like I've already, because of my brother's influence on me when it comes to music, it was like I already know what I like and I'm gonna stick to it. I'm so stubborn, this and this. And then all of a sudden, some of my favorite bands that I've listened to over the years, like, they've come up with albums, of course, and I'm like, I'm gonna listen to those albums. If I like it, I'm just gonna have it added to my playlist. And then people would tell me, like, oh, there is other bands or other singers that you would like to listen to, and then I try to give them a try, and it's just like, I'm sorry, I'm very stubborn when it comes to music. And, like, let me discover it on my own, or find a way how to listen to it in, like, in a certain mood, and then maybe I'll be able to, give it a chance and stuff like that. So anyway, but yeah, so every single time I hear this song, it makes me think of her, and, like, I just hope she's doing really well. Like, I sometimes see her on social media, sometimes I see her, like, on other, accounts that I have, and then plus, I have tried to reach out to her at one point, but I don't know if my message got through her, because, like, it was like a personal phone number type of thing, but I don't even know if she even has the same number. And so I tried to reach out to her, no answer, and I was just like, okay, well, I just hope she's doing fine. And then she recently popped up in my own Snapchat, and I think I have tried to contact her, but like I said, no word. It's just sad. So I'm just hoping she's doing okay. If any of my personal friends knew who I'm talking about, and, like, know that who I'm referring to, hopefully you guys can get a hold of her too, because, like, I have been concerned about her for a while, and I know she should be doing well, but I just want to know, like, once in a while, like, how she's doing, like, get an update on her life and this, because, like, it's been a mess for her, and I feel really bad for her. Like, I felt like a lot of people left her behind, and I mean, it is true, because a lot of us been really busy with our lives, and, like, I don't know, just, she always felt like she was always been left behind just because of her identity, and I'm just like, that's not really true. We have our own shit going on here, to be honest. It's like, it's been really difficult sometimes it's been easy, but, what can we do? And I remember at one point I did offer her to help, to like, help her and this, and never took it. So anyway, I'll talk about that in a different video. There is another song that reminds me of her, especially from the time onward, from this memory and then onward. So hopefully I'll be able to do that next month or something, because I try to make these videos at least once a month, unless like a certain song pops up in my playlist and I'm just like, I gotta talk about this, So anyway, I'm gonna stop it right here. I am going to try to clean up. I want to see if I can decorate this properly, because, like, as you can see, some of these beads are kind of, like, big. Oh, so, well, some of them are small too, but I don't know. I just need to do something with this one. I want to decorate it so badly, and the only thing I can do was, like, find some matching paper and try to match it as close to possible as the color of the beads on there. And I think I do have some paper that may be close to that color, and all I need to do is just you know, cover it up and this and this. But I was thinking about doing it like this, like instead, but then I'm like, how the fuck am I gonna get it out of there? So I'm sorry. So I'm gonna try my best. I'm gonna work on this one for a little bit because like I really do want to work on jewelry and of course other crafts, and then next week I'll do another craft and all that. I don't know. I'm gonna see what I can do, but all I know is that the next time I probably go to Hobby Lobby or something, because like this is from Dollar Tree. Like I told you guys, I have used this on a recent craft video before, and like I'm barely got a little bit in. I don't know if you can see it, but like I felt like if I'm gonna be decoupaging a lot, I want to get me one of those 8-ounce bottles, and I know Hobby Lobby has them for like $3.99 for that bottle, but I'm gonna do some research to see like can I get it somewhere cheaper, like maybe on a good sale. Maybe Amazon might have something better, who knows. I'll probably look into that, because who knows, maybe you guys are trying to look into like a, you know, like how to save money, especially for crafts items and stuff like this. And so maybe I could help you find something like that, and then who knows, maybe y'all can use it for yourselves if you ever wanted to craft with me or like on your own time. So anyway, I'm gonna go now. I got to clean up, and I'm gonna try to clean up at least, but I'm gonna organize a little bit because I got no floor space in here. So anyway, hopefully you guys have a lovely day and a lovely week, and I'll see you guys next week. All right, bye everyone.